Good evening, I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Jennifer Meckles. A man accused of randomly shooting at people he did not know in Aurora has been accused of a crime like this before. 9 News reporter Rhea Jha joins us now. And Rhea, this happened almost 6 years ago to the day.
Right. Austin Benson was charged in 2018 for a similar situation involving a family in Douglas County. They told me today they knew this would happen again. 4th of July hasn't been the same in 6 years.
The sounds of the fireworks, it triggers, like I flinch.
For Richard and Sherry Montoya, the fireworks are just too much.
It literally sounds like an AR-15. Some of them do, and I'm like looking, and it just, my whole body tenses up.
It takes them back to 2018.
That's the road we were on.
The drive up to Rampart Range for their 4th of July camping trip.
Just as we came around the bend, there was a blue car stopped right smack dab in the middle.
A man walked out of the blue car with an AR-15.
He looked right at us because when he was pointing the rifle, I literally was going, no, please don't shoot. But then he just started shooting.
We now have a caller on the phone advising that they're on Rampart Range Road and their tires were shot out.
Austin Benson was charged with attempted murder. For 5 years, Sherry and Richard showed up to Douglas County Court for every hearing, hoping for justice. But last October, Benson was found incompetent to stand trial and released.
That when we walked out of the court, her and the DA said, people like him, they will come back. They will reoffend. Who would have known 5 years later he would have did the exact same thing, but this time even worse.
On Friday, Richard got a call from the DA's office saying Benson was charged with shooting at 3 people he didn't know, one of them still in the hospital.
We knew what he was capable of, and it's like just looking at his face, it just brings a lot of memories back. I'll never forget his face.
The Montoyas are planning to show up for Benson's court proceedings, ready to start this process all over again.
We didn't give up the first time.
I just want to be there for their families. You know, the families that are going through that, because I understand. And I pray that they get justice, because I know we didn't.
Despite the holiday week, Benson is due in Arapahoe County Court first thing Friday morning, where prosecutors will formally file charges against him. Rhea Jha, 9 News.
All right, Rhea, tough to hear that story again. The family of 2 people who were hurt in that shooting last week is shocked that Austin Benson's prior cases were dropped. Adam Latta says he was at home in Seattle when his dad called to say his 35-year-old brother had been shot. His 74-year-old mom was also shot while the pair was out driving. Latta says his brother suffered major damage to his elbow and a bullet is still lodged in his mother's shoulder. He argues that the man accused of shooting them should have stayed under some form of supervised care.
I find it completely outrageous that he was let go at all. And I get we're short on beds and we're short on evaluators and the mental health system is taxed, but if we talk about mental health so much in this country, why is the infrastructure not there?
Lattis is thankful to the people who rushed to help his brother and mother. He says one of them used a tourniquet, which he credited with saving his brother's arm.
The Denver Metro stayed pretty dry today. Looks like we will have more of the same for your 4th of July celebrations. Let's bring in Lauren Robinson to talk about your holiday forecast. And you did have a little drama you were chasing this afternoon out east.
Oh, that's for sure. We didn't see any trace of storms across Denver this afternoon, but we saw some very strong storms across the eastern plains. All of that was in our forecast, but still quite a bit for anyone in those areas. We had several severe thunderstorm warnings. We even had a tornado warning at around 4 o'clock. But as we continue to monitor our HD Doppler radar, those strong storms are now pushing their way through portions of Nebraska and Kansas. We have a couple light lingering showers near Burlington, but all of the rest of that is going to continue to clear up here shortly. As we move ahead to my 7-day forecast, what we're going to talk about is more of this clearing tonight, but that's really going to just lead through a sunny day tomorrow for our 4th of July. We're also going to watch for dry conditions and cooler temperatures tomorrow. That'll stick around all the way until Friday. And then as we move into the weekend, we do have some storm chances on Sunday. I'll have details on all of this for you just ahead.
A man who was charged with murder for a deadly shooting in Denver is now off the hook tonight. 9 News Investigates found the district attorney's office dismissed that case mid-trial after seeing something on video they had not noticed before, a potential weapon in the victim's hand during the crime. Prosecutors charged a man that was 23 years old back in April of 2023. We're not naming him because now he's no longer facing charges. But on the first day of testimony in his trial, the DA's office realized the victim in this case was holding a tactical pen when that victim was shot. That's something you can use in self-defense or to break a window. The DA's office says the crime scene unit did not take a picture of that pen, so prosecutors didn't know about it until the trial had already begun. They have dismissed the case because it became clear they could not disprove self-defense without a reasonable doubt. According to Denver police, the defendant didn't provide a statement to investigators and never claimed self-defense. Our legal expert says people who are arrested cannot be penalized for that.
The jury can't even be told that they remain silent. So the bottom line is, this individual did what he thought was best for him, and it really doesn't excuse the police for moving and not photographing the pen.
In a statement, the public defenders who represented the defendant said their client acted in self-defense, saving himself and others from being attacked. They say their client is frustrated it took until that evidence was presented at trial for the charge to be dismissed.
The Denver DA's office says 2 of the 4 people arrested in the killing of a community activist have pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Police arrested New Law and Squaw Bay, along with 2 others in the death of Ma Kang. The East Colfax Neighborhood Association board member was putting groceries away in July of 2022 when she was shot by a stray bullet. Dozens of other charges against the 2 were dismissed as part of a plea deal they entered last month. Their sentencing dates have not been set just yet.
Jefferson County Public Health has now confirmed the first human case this year of tularemia. It's also known as rabbit fever. The bacterial disease was found in a person who lives in Wheat Ridge. This is associated with animals like rodents and rabbits, insects like ticks and deer flies. Rabbit fever can be transmitted to humans through those insects and infected animals, as well as contaminated food or water, even airborne bacteria. Colorado also today confirmed the first case of bird flu in a human in more than 2 years. CDPHE reports that man works at a dairy farm in northeast Colorado.
This comes as Colorado's outbreak among dairy cattle is now the worst in the country. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause has been following this for us tonight. Rachel.
Yeah, guys, well, today's case is the first case in a human here in Colorado. Doctors say more cases like it are expected to crop up. But because it's being spread from cows, they're not worried about rapid spread in people.
The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is reporting the state's first case of avian flu in a human in more than 2 years. State epidemiologist Rachel Herlihy says it's not a surprise.
25% of our herds in the state affected. We know that that's potentially a large number of dairy cattle workers in the state that are being exposed to this virus. And so not unexpected that we're seeing this case.
Herlihy says right now, the only people exposed to the virus are dairy workers directly working with animals. 9 News health expert Dr. Payal Kohli says the spread to humans shows the virus is mutating.
We just have to hope that it doesn't mutate enough to start transmitting from human to human, because that's when we would worry about exponential growth and a rapid spread.
CDPHE reported in the dairy worker who caught avian flu. His only symptom was pink eye.
Pink eye or conjunctivitis is a common symptom, so inflammation of the lining of the eye. But you can also see upper respiratory tract symptoms as well as fevers and chills and muscle aches, some of the common symptoms that we see with flu.
CDPHE says Tamiflu was used to treat that man. Dr. Kohli says that's a typical flu treatment, but she says if you catch it, you should quarantine. For most Coloradans, there's nothing to worry about.
The risk to the general public is going to continue to be low.
Dr. Kohli says to keep yourself safe from bird flu, cook your meat and your eggs thoroughly and steer away from the raw milk for now. The pasteurization process makes sure regular milk is safe to drink. Rachel Krause, 9 News.